You are now tuned in to our Day's Athletics Audiobytes.
What's going on, everyone? This is our Day's Athletics Audio Bites. I am Day, and I'm a Knicks fan. So, yeah, if you're wondering why I sound like this, yeah. NBA draft lottery was yesterday. I'm a Knicks fan. So, yeah, I. It's been some tough hours here, man. All I wanted was a top two pick. I didn't even want. No, I really didn't. Wasn't desperate for the number one pick. I was fine with a top two pick, but three though, like they couldn't freeze the envelope again for us. Like, come on, Adam Silver. But but I gotta be thankful because when you look at it, let's just go through the whole entire lottery. So New Orleans got number one, which is ridiculous. Memphis got number two, which is ridiculous. New York got number three, which is the most ridiculous. Number four, Lakers, which is the second most ridiculous because they should have been nowhere near a top four pick. Um, Five is Cleveland, six is Phoenix, Chicago seven, eight Atlanta, nine Washington, 10 Atlanta from Dallas. Minnesota is at 11, Charlotte at 12, Miami's at 13, and Boston is at 14. That pick is from Sacramento via Philadelphia. So when you look at it, you know, being an over dramatic Knicks fan, I am. Um, I'm going to be over dramatic because we didn't get the number one pick or the number two pick, but we really, and they were going, and Twitter and Instagram and everybody was coming at us Knicks fans and stuff like that. Of course, could not get a number one pick and stuff, which not a big deal. I just wanted the number two pick at least, because now we have in this situation where we're like, you know, it's been reported that Knicks supposed to be meeting RJ Barrett, and if you listen to my stuff and read my articles on dayathletics.wordpress.com, you'll know that I'm not a big RJ Barrett fan. He does some things great. He has talent. It just I don't know. He just seems like another. I don't. You never. Your next. Prototypical like basic small forward. Nothing special. I I just don't see it. But now that it's pretty much a done deal, unless Memphis takes RJ Barrett, which would be a blessing because let me tell you what, I don't care if we get Kyrie, I want us to get Kemba, and even if we get Kemba, I want us to still get Morant because you can play both of those guys. You can play Morant and Kemba, or Morant and Kyrie. Now Morant and Kyrie I think would be the more ideal situation because Kyrie is more of a scorer anyways. Kemba is can easily Kyrie can run an offense, I think, but he's better as we've learned through the Celtics series with the Bucks, and we'll get into that later. Um, as we've learned, he's not. I don't think he's really the number one option, at least from what we've seen. But at the same time, Kyrie gave up on the Celtics. That's the major reason why they lost that series. He just gave up. But um, if if Kyrie comes to New York, I'd still draft Morant. If RJ Barrett goes number two, um, Lakers, man, I don't know how they get so lucky. I mean, they didn't get so lucky by hiring that guy as their head coach. Frank Vogel. And Frank Vogel did some decent things with the Pacers back in the day, but that was a while now. He didn't do good with the Magic recently. He hasn't been good recently. He's from New Jersey, so he's a tri-state area guy. So you gotta give him respect for that. And Jason Kidd's gonna be the assistant and stuff. But um, that I hated that coaching hire for them. They need someone box office of the Lakers, so I felt like a Mark Jackson, even a Juwan Howard would have been more. I think Juwan Howard's gonna get that opportunity, but Juwan Howard or just hire Jason Kidd in the first place, or just give Tyronn Lue what he wants. I think this is more of a problem with Jeannie Buss. Everyone loves Jeannie Buss. She's a sweetheart and stuff like that, but I think she's letting her emotions get in the way, and you've seen it with Magic just out of the blue, just quitting. He couldn't quit in front of her because he knew that's his friend and he wants to keep that relationship with him, and so he couldn't do it in person. So, but I think that says something, meaning that he quit because I don't think he quit because he couldn't take it anymore and it was just so drastic. I think Magic took it for a reason. One being that he's Jeannie Buss's friend, a very dear friend, and a longtime Laker legend and everything like that. But I think if he really had control that he was supposed to be promised and everything, he would have stayed. And I think we've seen it again to where Tyronn Lue wanted like 4 or 5 years, like every most other coaches do when they get a new contract. They disrespected him, knowing only giving him a 3-year deal because LeBron's contract is going to be up in 3 years. Which is it is pretty disrespectful when you think about it. But if that's the case, why not just have an opt out clause or something like that, or just put more money up front in this contract and then just have less money or not get they could have really worked something out, but um, I like Jeannie Buss. She's not a bad person, but she, the luck of the lottery definitely saved her. Um, well, no, I wouldn't say saved her, but definitely it gives them something to work with. Kurt Rambis is their president of another horrible. If you're a Knicks fan, you know how horrible he is when it comes to basketball. So and he quietly became the president of basketball operations. I guess I didn't know about that. They didn't really report that. They kept it under the rug, but that's what reports are saying on TV and everything on Undisputed and all that. So, um, yeah. Uh, what I'd say for New York to do is just try to get Morant, or if not, man, you just gonna have to stick it with Barrett, I guess, because you don't want to reach because there's really nobody in this draft like that's really you know stands out just boom. It's a, sort of like a something like box office like a uh, like a John Morant or Zion Williamson. Almost forgot his name because I've repressed those dreams of having him in a Knicks uniform. But um, I there's really no one else. Jarrett Culver, not really. Yeah, it's really not yeah. There's really nobody. Um, it's tough. If anything, um, it's really tough. I'd say if anything, maybe if there had to be like a sneaky little pick that we had to do, similar to previous years where like we were rumored to take like either Moutier during the Porzingis draft or Hazonia, but we took Porzingis and that kind of paid off for us, somewhat. But but I think a Bruno Fernando wouldn't be bad. He's kind of like I guess you could say like I don't know how you would describe him. I'd say he's similar to a. I wouldn't say Embiid. I would say more of a. How would I put this? I would say more of a DeAndre Ayton, but less athletic. He's a big guy, and if you know me, big I like big, solid players who can actually stand in the paint and take hits and stuff. Because you know, yeah, I'm not really with the 190, the 200 pounds power forwards and stuff like that. Like, no, that's never been me. So Bruno Fernando, it's really RJ Barrett. I don't know why I'm telling myself. I don't know why I'm telling myself. I really don't see us. I think you guys just got to take him. There's so much peer pressure from Knicks fans now. It's like, okay, well, if you're not gonna get Zion, might as well just take RJ Barrett. He was a top scorer in the ACC in the whole entire college basketball, so you gotta take him. But the reason why I say Bruno Fernando is because we do have Mitchell Robinson, and he needs time to develop. But that's someone you definitely do not trade. Do not trade him. But he's not that offensively skilled yet. He does have some skill. He's great around the basket. He's a great, you know, he finishes up nicely. He gets boards, and he's great. He's pretty decent in pick and roll and stuff like that. But Bruno Fernando, I think, would be a great compliment to him. And if not, I'd say you could start the both of them, honestly. Um, Start the both of them, and then you have KD as small forward. You just have like a bully little. Then if you want to put Kevin Knox in there, but something tells me I see Kevin Knox getting traded. If we could trade like maybe Kevin Knox for Matisse Thybulle, who's my favorite player in the draft. But that's a totally different story for another day. I have so many. As a Knicks fan, you got to think of so many crazy situations now. I also would like Tyler Hero out of Kentucky, but I know that's definitely not happening either. The only people that most likely could get drafted above RJ Barrett is DeAndre Hunter out of Virginia because he's a better shooter. Um, the Knicks would have to be crazy to really draft Cam Reddish over RJ Barrett. I could see Cam Reddish being better than RJ Barrett, but as of right now, it's not really a debate. So it's either Jarrett Culver or DeAndre Hunter. If anything, I think I'd maybe possibly make a campaign for Bruno Fernando at 3, because I think he's the only solid center and really big man in this league, not league, but in this draft class. So yeah, you don't want to do the most at. You don't want to play Cleveland and draft like Anthony Bennett at number 1, trying to be all spread. No, you don't want to do that. But at the same time, um, and then would I say like a Roy Hachimura from Gonzaga? No, that's so. I think the combine will help. If we see someone go crazy, or just weigh in and have different height, I think the combine will help a little tiny bit. Um, I think that would definitely help out. But really, the guy, realistically speaking, realistically speaking, the guy that could take, RJ Barrett's spot is DeAndre Hunter. Shooting over 43% from 3, averaging 15 points a game, 15 and 5. He's really and 50% field goal percentage and everything like that. All better stats than he didn't average 22 points per game like RJ Barrett, but he is the more efficient player. Culver is more of a shooting guard, and I think maybe if you were to get a KD, maybe that's the person you put at shooting guard. But I feel like RJ Barrett can easily play the shooting guard position as well. So it's really, Culver's out the picture here. He had a great run with Texas Tech for sure. But if anybody, I would love a Bruno Fernando or DeAndre Hunter over RJ Barrett. We'll talk about that in another episode. But let's not overthink things here. But New Orleans, Anthony Davis is leaving regardless. He doesn't want to play there. It's New Orleans, and Zion wanted to play with the Knicks, even though he clowned us during the season. When reporters asked him how he liked playing with the Knicks, and he clowned us. But that's karma. Shouldn't have clowned us. Maybe you would have ended up with us after all. Now you're stuck in New Orleans eating gumbo all day and getting fat and not doing anything and just being bored. That was kind of harsh. But Memphis, that's tough. I think yeah, it not really. The John Morant has to be the pick or RJ Barrett, but I'd go John Morant easily. The only thing, any I don't care about size. I don't care if he's 6'1". Stop. Um, the only thing that you could say is his jumper. Is his jumper. That's it. But besides that, I think he's fine. I think he's going to be, even if he doesn't develop a jumper, I think he's pretty much at this point a Russell Westbrook. He's the closest thing We've been comparing so many point guards coming out these recent years to Russell Westbrook, but I think this is really the closest thing we've had to Westbrook, really, because he doesn't. That jumper isn't strong, and if he doesn't develop it, he still has so many things to look for to rely upon that he can rely upon, like passing, and he's not a bad defender, and he just has that it factor. He can get to the basket, he can score, he just can't shoot from the perimeter as well. But moving on from the lottery, but I will say it sucks for Cleveland, man. Sucks for Cleveland, Phoenix, Chicago, Atlanta, all of them guys. I mean, Atlanta has 2 picks in the top 10, so I mean, it's not too bad for them. But Cleveland and Phoenix and Chicago, man, they were right behind the Knicks. They were right. Phoenix was right behind the Knicks and the Cavaliers, and then they got up outside the top four. The Lakers just somehow they pulled their magic. That is just ridiculous. Anyway, moving on to the NBA playoffs though. So as we mentioned previously, and as if you listen to the previous episode, I predicted Boston beating Milwaukee. That was after um, Boston spanked Milwaukee in that first game. I could have sworn Kyrie gave up. That it's that team just tore apart. That team was very talented. Make no mistake about it. That team was very talented. Could have made it to the finals easily. Could they beat a Steph Curry and Klay Thompson? That's tough. Um, I, if we're saying KD was hurt, was still hurt in that scenario where Boston would make it to the finals and KD, say for example, doesn't make it to the finals and just stays out the whole entire postseason. Um, they could win, but one of them would have to go somebody else besides Gordon Hayward and Kyrie. And Gordon Hayward wasn't even going really playing well like that in regardless. So it really was very unlikely. I think there was a chance, maybe it could have happened, but no, it just against Golden State. I don't think really anybody. Milwaukee might do its thing. I think they might win a couple of games. But against Golden State, they just if Giannis could shoot, then it's a whole different ball game. But I think it they're just gonna get outshot, and I think Milwaukee will get there. Definitely, I think Giannis is gonna take because no one can guard. Draymond's the closest thing that can guard that can try to stop Giannis, but he's not gonna be able to stop Giannis. So my predictions for the conference final games: Golden State they just beat Portland this past night. I mean, who didn't see that coming? If Portland had Nurkic, I think it'd be a whole different story. But then again, Golden State doesn't even have KD, so if Golden State had, yeah, it it's not really. Maybe we had a little tiny bit of false hope because Damian Lillard's been playing like crazy, and CJ McCollum had a really great Game 7 against Denver, but it just they don't compare to the Splash Brothers. They don't compare to them. So I'm taking Golden State probably 4-1 in Game 5. I think Portland will get one out, or they might end up getting swept even. Or maybe they'll turn it around. I hope they turn it around. I was a hope. I think what happened with me, because I also predicted. I believe I predicted the. Well, I think I predicted that more as a rebel more than from a analyst perspective or from a educator perspective. Because realistically speaking, Rockets didn't really. They're not the same team they were last year. They had way better defenders. They had way better shooters. They had Trevor Ariza, who was they never should have gotten rid of. Never. That was just really dumb. I think that was a major piece, but just James Harden really he had to ball out more. He didn't do too bad in the last game, but you have to those 60-point and 50-point games when you're and that also goes on D'Antoni too for sure. And I think they might have to fire him and I think they have a chance to turn it around because who wouldn't want to play with James Harden? I feel like he's not too bad as a teammate, even though I wouldn't be able to stand his flopping all the damn time. If I was his teammate, I'd go crazy. But still, I'd make it work. It's James Harden. Um, but he just chokes in the playoffs, and D'Antoni, his system, it just doesn't. Just with James Harden at the top of the key or just somewhere, just ISO ball. It's really the same, like with Melo and the Knicks. It's like and Eric Gordon, they should have got Eric Gordon more involved and players like that. And just Clint Capella is never. It was dumb to give him that much money to begin with because, yeah, he's a good rim protector, but against Golden State, that doesn't mean anything because they're not coming to the rim. They shooting. That doesn't matter. Like, Clint Capella is useless in a situation against Golden State. Maybe against, like, a Clippers or a Utah or, where they have a Rudy Gobert and stuff. Stuff like that. But against a Golden State where their starting centers most of the time Draymond Green or some of that nature, they don't care about getting boards or or getting blocks for stuff like that. Like no, you can have that. Houston can have that, and that was their biggest mistake. Clint Capella is very not useful on the offensive side of the ball. He's a liability. He's not terrible. He does some pick and roll stuff, blah blah blah. But it just come on. He wasn't worth that. If we're just being real here, he wasn't worth that money. Let's just be real here. So he wasn't worth the money. They should never give him the contract. They should give someone else that kind of money. Um, they need to get. They have to find a way to get rid of Capella. I don't know how. I really don't see a package they could pull off to trade for Anthony Davis, the Rockets. Um, Maybe Boston could pull off a trade. No, I don't know. Not even. There's certain things that these teams have to do to compete with because now the Greek Freak now owns the East. I'd say. I think Kawhi is probably gonna leave the Eastern Conference for sure. Unless they make it to the finals and win everything, or maybe if they win this series, maybe I Kawhi will stay. But I think the only chance of Kawhi staying in the East is if he stays with the Raptors. I don't see him. It'd be dope if he came to the Knicks, but I know he's not coming to the Knicks. He wants to go back to LA, and I think it's Clippers is pretty much a done deal. That Clippers team, if they get him, man, they're gonna be a real. They push it. Clippers pushed it to a game 6. They pushed it to game 6 against Golden State in the first round. They didn't get swept, so imagine that with Kai and traffic or just more places they can pick up and stuff. So but my predictions for the NBA Conference Finals, I'll say Golden State again, 4-1 in they'll win in game 5. And then Milwaukee and Toronto is tough. Um, Milwaukee has good perimeter shooters. Uh, and they did a good job of. Honestly, they did a good job, but they were able to make it out against Boston. And that's a tough one. I'm doing this on the spot. I never really gave my prediction as of yet. I'll put in more stuff later in the next episode, but we were just doing a quick little episode today just to recap the lottery and the playoffs. But I'd say my prediction, early prediction, since my Boston prediction was wrong, I have to redo this over. But oh, and Philadelphia Toronto series. I forgot I didn't really talk about the Portland Denver one. Those are both really good ones. Um, I like to. I mean, either Denver Portland, neither Denver Portland can match up with Golden State, so it was really a big deal. But congrats to Denver though. They need some more players. They just need more time. If they can develop like Golden State has developed and get like another solid player, they can be the new Golden State in like a couple of years, in a good amount of years. When Clay leaves and KD leaves, and it's just like Draymond and Steph Curry, yeah, that's when Denver needs to take over. But that's I think that's gonna be a while. At least I think, unless he can get somebody this season, this off season, then yeah. But they're a very talented team. I think I think they're gonna be the new Golden State Warriors when the Golden State Warriors, dynasty finally decides to, go apart, whenever that is, or whenever whatever beast forms up next year, because we don't even know what's gonna happen with Houston, the Clippers, the Lakers. We don't know what's going to, the Jazz. We don't know what's going to happen to those teams. They can be more dream teams in the West or whatever. But Philadelphia, they just need to get more shooters. They try to get more shooters towards the end of the season before the trade deadline, but they got Tobias Harris and stuff. But they just need way more shooters. They should have never traded Covington. Um, they need more shooters. I think they're still very young, almost like a Denver. They're still very, very young. Ben Simmons needs to find a jumper somehow, some way. Embiid needs to get back in the post more, but you can't blame Embiid when they really don't have any shooters. So in order for that to happen, they need shooters for that. Um, but they'll be back at it soon. But Toronto, Greek Freak versus the Claw. Oh man, I want to see Toronto because I love Kawhi, but can you really trust Marc Gasol and Kyle Lowry? And I'd much take a Malcolm Brogdon and Eric Bledsoe, and so I mean, I'm gonna go. My early prediction for that series is gonna be Milwaukee. I can see that going to 7, so I'll say 4-3, or 4-2. But yeah, I think that's the series I can go to 7, so 4-3. Then probably gonna be Golden State, Milwaukee in the finals, or Toronto. But I think it's gonna be a good series no matter what. But we're gonna get more into the NBA draft prospects as it gets closer to the combine and the draft and everything like that. Remember to stay posted on adayathletics.wordpress.com. And of course, have a good week, y'all. Peace out. More to come soon.